How y'all, Worm here. A question came up in my item contracting video in regards to how to safely traverse Lowsec when it comes to transporting assets. So I thought I'd do a quick video on some of my tips and tricks in order to actually get in and out of Lowsec safely with very expensive assets, or even cheap assets for that matter. So first off, just location wise, I'm currently in this system here, Twanstay, I think that's how you pronounce it. And I'm going to be heading to this system here, which is Egbinger. Now, this system that I'm heading to is deep in Lowsec, but it's also bordering NPC nullsec. So it actually does experience a fair bit of activity. The first thing you need to do before you actually do your transportation over to this system is do your due diligence in terms of research. So right now I'm looking at the ships destroyed in the last hour along this route. Now happily, no ships have been destroyed in the last hour. I checked the 24 hours and there was only a couple of ships destroyed in the last 24. So that's good news, but just because there's no ships destroyed in the last hour, they're waiting for that one big fish to just come along when they think nobody's there and they'll catch him. It happens all the time. So never assume you're safe. As far as I'm aware, this is an absolute war zone that I have to traverse, and I'm going to treat it as a war zone. So now that I know where I'm going, I've got my route planned out. Make sure that you're flying the correct ship. If you're going to be hauling something expensive, fit a hauler tanky. Never fly with a full spec'd cargo optimization hauler. You're just asking to get ganked. You're going to align slow. You're going to have the tank of a wet noodle. You're not going to be able to do much. So I've got this basic T1 ship here. It's spec'd for tank. It's got stabilizers as well, which will allow me to resist a solo ganker, for example, which is usually what you experience in nullsec. If it's a group, I was going to be dead anyway regardless of my tank. So it's all about your due diligence and just planning ahead. Now, if I was going to be moving, say, 1 billion ISK worth of assets through this system, and I was going to go to Lowsec, grab it, and bring it back, I wouldn't just jump into my hauler and just go there right away. I'd actually scout the route first. So, a common thing for me, I don't actually use alts myself, but an alt scout would actually be really useful. If you just send it a few jumps along, scout the next system, you'd actually do rather well. For me though, I'd prefer to actually use my main for everything. So I'd just jump in a rookie ship and I'd fly the route myself. I'd go all the way to the system, all the way back, make sure everything is secure. If there's nobody ganking, if there's no scouts or anything else that are watching me, then I'd jump in my hauler and head off. For the purpose of this video, I'm just going to forgo the scouting, because I've already told you about it, and I'm just going to fly from this Highsec system to my destination Lowsec system and tell you some of the tips along the way. Now, the system I'm choosing to leave from is actually quite a popular Highsec system with a Lowsec gate, so I just need to be cautious as well. So I'm not going to jump through the gate yet, because I just want to land on it because I want to see the situation. I don't want to jump right away. When it comes to jumping into Lowsec, don't rush into it. You have all the time you need. You're sitting in Highsec. So the first thing you need to do is just check if there's anybody scouting the system. So right now we're sitting on the Highsec Lowsec entrance, and I don't see anybody sitting on the gate. Nobody's watching me as far as I'm aware, so that's a good flag for me. If there was somebody sitting on the gate just watching the traffic come through, letting their friends know on the other side what's to expect, I'd treat that as alarm bells going off, and I'd want to actually properly scout the system without my hauler. So I'm going to jump through now. Accept your warning, and accept that you're never going to be safe when you go into Lowsec. All the best action happens in Lowsec for a reason. So first thing to do is check local. Now, people's instincts will be jumping to Lowsec and they'll want to warp to the next gate as soon as possible. You're not in a hurry, unless of course you are in a hurry. But my point is, take the time to look around. Even if there was a hostile fleet all around me, I'm cloaked up, they can't see me yet. I have all the time in the world to think about what direction my ship is actually pointing, what's the closest thing I can align to and warp to, and maybe there's a citadel I can warp to as well. So just think about all that. For now, there's only one person in this system. I don't see much of a threat here, so I'm just going to jump to the next system. Now, I actually made a mistake here by hitting jump, So I'm going to make sure I don't jump right away, because if there is a scout on this gate, he's probably going to be expecting me to jump. And it could mean there's a fleet on the other side. So he could easily be a scout. He's just sitting on that out gate, waiting for somebody to land. Well, so far so good. Nobody's actually on that gate, so I'm free to actually jump through. Okay, we got 3 people in this system at the moment. There's a fair few stations in here. Everything's fine, we're all aligned, and I'm just going to warp to the next gate. Now, a good thing to do while you're actually warping through these systems is you can check the status of all the people that are actually in here. So you can see this person is Pirate Lords of War. We do Lowsec Pirates, Small Gang PvP, so he's a member of a Pirate Alliance. That's fine, but there's only one of them. But it could mean he's a scout. Now, right now, there's nobody on the system. Nobody's sitting on the gate. So right now, nobody's sitting on this gate as far as I'm aware. Could be somebody watching me from afar. But we're going to jump through and continue on. Okay, this system's empty. So we literally don't have to wait because of that. So we're just going to jump through. So we're jumping through. We're almost to our destination. There's nobody in this system again. This is rather strange. Usually these systems are a lot more active. So I think we've caught it at a good time. It is fairly early in the morning, so North America is still asleep. Europe is still waking up. It's a Monday as well, so most people are actually still going to work. So it's mainly just the other time zones and people who are currently off work that we need to worry about. Okay, so we're about to jump into our destination. And we're in luck. There's absolutely nobody in here. So we've arrived here rather early, so that means, as I've said, there's not much activity. But that's good for us. It means we can get in, get out before anybody notices us, and we can get our assets out of Lowsec safely. So we're in Ed Binger at the moment. We've picked up our assets, we're ready to go. So we're ready to head on back to our destination system. Now, we're just going to set our destination. So it's literally just backtracking the route we just came. And we literally just scouted it a minute ago. But if you've left it longer than 15 minutes, you might want to scout it again just in case, if you are moving something expensive. So we're heading on out again. So this is usually where people start to get really frazzled. They have multi-millions sitting in their ship and they need to get out of Lowsec ASAP. However, treat it as the trip in. You're not in a rush. If you rush, you're going to make a mistake. So we're just going to take this slow. There's nobody on the gate. We're all safe and we're just going to jump through. Just follow the rules that you followed on the way here. Just look out for scouts, look out for activity. There's nobody in this system, so I can safely jump to the next one. If something seems off though, if you don't like the way something looks, maybe there's a bunch of people in system that you don't like the look of, don't warp to the next gate. If you jump into a new system and say there's like 4 or 5 people who just popped up here, or they are in a corporation or alliance that maybe has pirate activity in their history, don't warp to the next gate. Warp to a citadel, warp to a station, warp to a planetoid. It doesn't really matter. Just warp somewhere where you can just gather your thoughts, analyze the situation as best you can. As long as you do your due diligence, analyze the situation, you're going to be fine. Now, this person I didn't encounter on my way back, so he looks like a fairly normal character. He's not really a member of a corporation, so I'm going to warp to the next gate and I'm going to take it from there. Now, more people have jumped in, so this looks like a new private family PvE corp, but even if they're a PvE corp, don't assume they're safe. Don't assume they're not going to attack you. Even the most generous, caring miner will attack you if he has a chance. Alright, so we've landed on gate, there's nobody there. We're going to jump on through. It could be that they're actually behind us, so we're going to pick up the pace a little. Now, this is the guy I passed on the way back, so it doesn't really matter to me, but I'm just going to warp to the gate regardless. I'm conscious of the fact that there may be people behind me. So those people who jumped into the last system, they might actually be following me up the chain. They mightn't even be following me, they're just heading on the same route I am, because we're all on the same route to Highsec. Just analyze everything. Think of everything logically. Think about how many jumps you have left. How many people are in system? What is the character of these people? Like, you can see this guy is part of a pirate corporation. Just analyze everything. Just think of everything strategically. You don't need to make rash decisions. In Nullsec, yes, you would, because there's bubbles and everything else. But here, you don't really need to make rash decisions. Just think of everything logically. Think it through, do your due diligence, and then make the best decision that you can at the time, and you'll always get out. Well, I say always. You're never always going to be able to get out. This is important. You're heading from Lowsec into Highsec. Just because the Highsec gate is right there, do not assume you're home free. More than likely, this happens a lot, especially to me. You'll find out somebody is actually sitting on that gate, and they will gank you as soon as you land. Usually it could be smart bombing battleship, for example, if you're in something lightly tanked. I think I'd be able to survive it with my hauler, but it's just something to look out for. It's very popular for gankers to sit on the Lowsec Highsec entrance in order to gank people trying to get into Highsec. So nobody's in the system at the moment, so we're safe, so we're going to jump on in through to Highsec. As I just explained, I was cloaked the entire time while sitting on that gate. I was perfectly safe. There was nobody else in the system at the time. Nobody was hunting around for me around that gate. They don't know where I am. So I was reasonably safe as a result. Now somebody else just jumped in, but it's possible it's just somebody jumping in from Highsec. So I'm perfectly safe, and I'm going to jump into Highsec. Now, just because you're in Highsec, do not assume you're safe. Never assume you're safe. You're never 100% safe, not even in Highsec. It's possible somebody could be waiting on this Highsec gate, for example. They could scan your cargo, see that you have a few billions worth of ISK in your cargo hold, and they could gank you even at the station. All it takes is a few catalysts and you're gone. And they can just scoop up your assets and go about their business. And that's it. We've made it into Lowsec, collected our stuff, and made it back to Highsec. Simple as that. Only took us a few minutes. You're going to end up wanting to move the assets that you collected in Lowsec over to a trade hub of some kind. So that may be a few jumps away. For example, for me, I'd be moving them to Dodixie, and Dodixie is about 12 jumps away, and they're all Highsec. But some of them go as far as 0.5. So it's possible there could be gankers waiting in those systems as well, particularly in Heck. Now, when it comes to moving your assets across Highsec from one Highsec system to another, always fly the ship yourself. Warp from gate to gate by yourself. Don't use the autopilot system. You may get lax and then decide, oh, I'll just set autopilot for about 10-15 minutes and let my ship fly itself to the trade hub. Never do that in a hauler. Gankers and everybody else is looking for that. The Code Alliance, for example, they always look out for that. They look out for freighters and they look out for haulers that are doing autopilot from one system to another. They're easy pickings. All it takes is for them to just scan your cargo hold, bring in some catalysts, and you're gone. So always fly the ship yourself. Jump from system to system to system. It may be repetitive, it may be boring, but you'll get there safe. And they're my personal tips from flying into Lowsec and out of Lowsec safely. Now, they're just my general opinions. I didn't share everything that needed to be shared, but I shared the most basic stuff and the important stuff. Scouting ahead, doing your due diligence in terms of research into the route that you're going to be flying, looking at the people that are in the systems, and just flying safe in a proper ship fit for purpose. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and a comment down below. And if you want to see more videos like this, as well as my other EVE series, you can hit that subscribe button. Thanks very much. Fly safe.